So the way I'm going to set this up is I'm going to have one block under my head, set up like that, and I'm going to put one under my shoulder blades like that. So I've got a little bit higher for the head, a little bit lower for the shoulder blades. Now, again, you could use a blanket or a throw pillow or something along that line in place of the blocks if you don't have blocks at your house. Then, I just kind of move until it feels pretty comfortable. I'm going to do a butterfly with my legs, putting feet together and dropping the knees open. Ow. And that's how I'm going to start. And I'm being invited to a wrestling match right now, but I'm not in the space where I want to do a wrestling match. So anyway, welcome to Saturday, kind of vinyasa and yin, flowy, little core work, and a little soft, relaxing. Well, theoretically, it's going to be soft, relaxing. We'll find out how soft and relaxing it's really going to be. Take deep breaths at your house. I'm guessing that all the humans with kids right now trying to bother them are relating to my situation. Nice deep breaths. So we're going to stay for about 30 more seconds here. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to take another deep breath. Let go with a big ah. All right, so bring your knees together, and you can take a moment just to allow the knees to settle against each other, or do a little windshield wipers back and forth. I'm going to start by taking the block that's under my head out from under my head, and then the other one out from under my shoulders. So if you have a pillow, you could probably just remove the one thing. And then it feels really lovely just to settle back down onto the floor and feel where that landed you. So it just feels so nice. Like I sleep curled up in a little ball, so first thing in the morning it feels really lovely to do something where it opens up the chest and changes my back a little bit. And so I'm getting this kind of very soft, expanding sensation through my back, which I am happy with. In truth, it might be nice to just stay there like that, but we're going to do that, and we're going to grab hold of one leg, stretch the other leg out, and then just spin that leg that you've got in your hand, spin that foot in circles. And then go the other direction. And then point and flex that foot. Back and forth. All right, so we're going to take this leg and we're going to extend it out. And you can draw it towards you. You can hold onto your big toe. You can let go of it depending on how tight the hamstrings are. And then we're going to essentially just take a nice big breath And as you exhale, just walk your hands up that leg or curl in and try to bring your forehead towards it. And then inhale and come on back down. I'm going to stretch into all the edges and then exhale and come on up and see how high up that leg you can reach. Inhale, take it back down, stretch out all the edges, and then we're going to lift as high as I can. Now, I'm trying to keep my neck in a neutral position and really use my abs to do that work. And then I'm going to lift this other leg off the ground and hold steady right there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring it on down. Go ahead and release that leg back down to the floor. Give it a little shimmy and see if there's a difference between those two legs. It feels so lovely. All right, so we're getting this leg. Let's do it on the other side. Give this guy a hug if you can, and then spin it around. Spin the foot around anyway. And then go the other direction with the spin. And then point and flex. All right, and then you're going to extend that leg out and kind of find that little bit of hamstring stretch. And you can, again, pause and stretch and then exhale and curl yourself up towards that leg. Maybe you can even grab the foot. Inhale, come on down. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, come on down. Stretch in between and then exhale and curl up. We're going to hold steady. Hover that other leg if you can. Hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come on down. Give that leg a shimmy. And then give it a stretch. All the way from one end to the other. All right. So when you're ready, you're going to bring yourself to a seated position. You can roll to your side and push up or rock yourself up, whichever way works better at your house. And then once we get here, we're going to do a little dragonfly shape. So this is called wide angle or Upavista Konasana in other circles. In yin, it's referred to as dragonfly, which I think is charming, so I'm going to keep it. So the legs are out wide. You don't have to go as wide as your body is capable of going, but you can go, kind of in a similar, or in a pattern that just feels like it's a nice big V. Then you're going to turn, and we're just going to face one leg, or go face down one leg. And then put the hands, rest the hands somewhere. You can rest them on the floor. You can let your palms rest on the blocks, if you've got blocks handy. And we're going to stay steady. Now, I'm noticing, now that I'm here, that I have a tendency to want to lean forward off of this other sit bone. So I'm going to try to keep that sit bone heavy for now. And pause for another minute or so. Just allowing myself to kind of feel how much my upper back is willing to come into this twist without pulling the hip forward. It's nice to take a quiet moment too to just check in with your breath. So we're going to take a nice big inhale. And then hopefully we kind of primed ourselves for this with that little piece we just did. So we're just going to fold over this leg. And once you're folding over this leg, you'll notice there's different sensations. So depending on how far on the leg you are, you might feel it slightly differently than if you come more towards the center, or if you try to do more of a twist across. For me, there's a little bit of sensation down this inner thigh, and hamstrings, and in my back. And all of it feels nice. It's a nice amount of sensation. If it feels like it's a spicy amount of sensation or too much, back off. Nice deep breaths and just allowing it to settle. And we're allowing ourselves just a quiet moment. Well, it might not be that quiet at your house, but for me it's a quiet moment right now. And we'll stay for about another minute. Take a notice if you've got any tension around your face or in your jaw or around your eyes. Sometimes when I'm holding a pose and I'm being too pushy, I can feel the tension there. So we've got 2 breaths left here. And we'll float ourselves up. And pause. I'm going to lean back and bend my knees and just give this a little rinse. Windshield wiper move. And then when I come back up to do the other side, I just want to take a few moments before I go in any direction and see how it landed me. So what do I feel? So if there's any tenderness or soreness, especially around a joint, if my back feels like I overdid things, then when I do this other side, I'm going to back off a little bit. If everything feels pretty good, like you might even find it's more helpful to sit up on something, like sit up on a blanket. So I'm going to take myself and just turn the opposite direction, and that's it. So I'm, noticing the tendency that I have to want to lean forward, trying to keep my hips weighted evenly, and let this part of the pose just be about rotation in my spine. And find a way to relax the legs a little bit. And again, as I hang out here, it might be that I can get this upper part of my back wants to move a little deeper into this twist, and sometimes it doesn't. So rather than assume that something's going to be like it was yesterday, just noticing what is happening right now. Noticing like a tiny bit more tension in my shoulder girdle than I had on the other side. So just finding a way to sort of relax that. It's nice to tune in to where the spots are that need some attention. We've got just shy of a minute, about 45 seconds here. Tuning into those subtle little places where you might be like not realizing that you're leaning or changing things. And take one more big breath here. And then as you exhale, fold yourself over your leg. And again, determining how far to go or whether to change the angle by gently just kind of playing with the pose a little bit, exploring the pose. And then mostly allowing things to get soft and relaxed. And noticing how the sensations on this side might be the same or different than the other. Inhale your way up. And we'll take a moment just to lean back. Oh, and rinse out the legs. Oh. Now, we're going to come up to an all fours position. Oh. And do some movement with the spine. So you can take yourself to that shape as soon as you're ready to do it. And then as you start to move, you can move in side to side movements or up and down movements. You can change the way your hands are positioned, either to get rid of small furry creatures or just to change the way your wrists are experiencing the stretch. Hey, your sister's right over there. Go wrestle her. Go wrestle her. Ouch. All right, try it up here. There you go. How about that? How about that? Little ride? No? No rides. Okay. Okay. All right, so now, once you've gotten yourself worked out there, we're going to take ourselves through a little spinal balance. So we're going to take one leg out and the opposite arm out, and then reach between those 2 points. And then lower those down. Do the opposite side. Reach between those 2 points. Lower those down. First side. Reach, curl up, reach, lower down. Same thing, other side. Reach, curl up, reach, lower down. Okay, so we're going to do 2 curls this time. So stretch, curl, stretch, curl, stretch, lower down. Stretch, other side, curl, stretch, curl, stretch, lower down. All right, so we're going to take this to downward dog. Finding a place for your hands so they're about shoulder distance apart. Moving the shoulder blades a little bit. Walking the heels up and down. Pressing the hips back and getting some length. Hugging the arms in a little towards your head. See how that feels. All right. So we're going to take one leg up. You can pick which leg you want to start with. Sink into the other heel. And then we're going to step this guy forward. Now, from here, I'm going to bring the leg so that I'm on a little lunge trajectory, right? I've got back leg lifted, pressing back to that heel. This knee balanced over my ankle. You can put a block under your hand if that would be helpful, so you can get up a little. And then I'm going to add a twist to this, and I'm going to try to kick that twist in my upper back like we did with that seated pose. There's a tendency to want to move the hips, so see if instead you can just twist your upper back. Then you can take your arm in the air, wrap it around, just reaching back through that heel and forward through the knee. And I'm feeling that tendency to drop my hip and kind of bringing that back up. And then taking one more breath. I might not twist that much. Come on out of there. We'll step back to down dog. And we'll take our first vinyasa sequence. So you're going to come forward into a plank. Now you can keep that full plank and lower down, or you can bring your knees to the ground. Hug the elbows in tight. Come halfway or all the way to the ground. Come into a cobra, which is my favorite, or upward dog, and then press yourself back up and take it to down dog. Now, opposite leg goes up. And then we'll step it forward. And again, no matter how far over I can get it, everybody's a little different. Some people can step really smoothly. Some of us need a little extra jiggle. It doesn't matter. We're all going to get to the same place. Just take the time. Get your knee over your ankle. Keep that back leg lifted. Add that little bit of a twist. See if you can keep your pelvis level and let the upper back do the twisting work. And for me, that's not a very deep twist, so I have have to be honest with that part, right? I could get more if I drop my hip, but instead I'm really trying to free up my upper back today. And one more deep breath. And then we're going to come out of the twist and step it back into down dog. And feel where that landed you. And then add your vinyasa, or if you want to skip the vinyasas, maybe they're too challenging, you can just stay with dog and let your dog walk around. Sometimes I skip a few, sometimes I do them all. It depends on my energy level on a given day. Now, we're going to take that first leg up, give it a little swing over the back if it feels okay to do. Maybe even a couple of ankle circles, sink into your other heel, and then we'll step this guy forward. Now this time we're going to come to warrior one. So instead of having the heel up, I'm going to bring the heel down and come on up. I'm still going to orient my torso forward. I'm going to let this hip follow that foot so that I can feel myself stretching the legs in both directions, rotating the ribs. Then we're going to bring the arms up, pull the elbows back because this feels really nice, and push forward. Turn your palms up. See how high you can lift your arms. Bring the elbows back, push forward. One more time. And push forward. Now, we're going to fold over this leg, but we're going to straighten it out first. So just coming back to that hamstring stretch idea. I just spun my whole foot and hip around so that I'm a little more even going over this leg. And again, I could use a prop, whatever kind of prop you've got at home. I've even used a sauce pot in place of a block before, and they work. And so nice deep breaths. Now we're going to turn this into a balancing pose. So this was kind of our primer for the hamstrings. We're going to take this balance up, and then we're going to put our twist back into it. So I'm going to keep the leg that I'm standing on, I'm going to keep the opposite hand on the ground. So I'm going to keep that block there, or I'm going to put my hand on the floor, if that's better, okay? Lengthen out, try to get the pelvis level, and then twist and reach and stretch through those two places into that revolved half moon. Just taking our twisting, 1, 2, 3, another level. Reach through that heel, and then we'll come out of there and step back into down dog. And then take a moment and feel where that dog landed you. And then add your vinyasa as you see fit. Coming through the back bend and back to your dog. And then we'll do that opposite leg. So whatever leg you haven't done yet, you're going to hook that guy over maybe. A couple ankle circles. Working the calf muscles on that bottom leg. Step this guy forward. Bring the other heel down, right? So I just jiggle my feet into place. And then I'm going to come up. Once I'm up, I'll test out how I like the way I've adjusted myself. Now, taking that warrior one shape, bringing the elbows back, pushing forward, palms up. Warrior one, elbows back, palms forward. Last one. Woo, that feels good. All right. So then we're going to fold and straighten this leg out. I'm going to bring that hip around. And then feeling out how the hamstrings on this side are faring today. Pressing into the feet. Taking one more breath there. And then we're going to take ourselves up for that balance. So, taking the back leg up. Okay, so again, standing leg, opposite arm is the standing arm. Get nice and long, level in the pelvis. As level as you can get, and twist. And stand strong on that leg. Reach through that other leg, doesn't matter how high it goes. This is fun. One more breath. I love that pose. All right, coming out of there. Now you can take your vinyasa here, or you can pause and just do a dog. All All right, so coming back to down dog, we're gonna take a nice big breath and reach that first leg up. And this time we're gonna make some circles. So we're gonna hug the knee in and circle it back open. Hug the knee in, circle it back open. Hug the knee in, circle it back open, and step it forward. And we'll take this guy to warrior two. So I'm gonna bring the foot around and point the toes more away, more towards the belly side of things. Let that be a little more focused on bringing my pelvis out to the side. Now I'm gonna, come on back to this reverse shape, and then to a little bit more of a side angle shape, letting the arms be light, and maybe even making a little ball shape in front of me as I move back and forth. One more time. So then we're gonna straighten this leg out, and we're gonna come into a triangle pose. You can hold onto your shin. You can use a block. You can put your hand on the floor. You can let your back be a little bit more of a rainbow shape, or you can try to get more length there. There's lots of options. The question is, which option is right for you today? So I'm going to keep this idea of this one bind with one arm behind my back, using the block to kind of press in and get long. Nice deep breaths. All right, so we're going to bend this knee. I'm going to keep this hand on my hip. We're going to take this to a half moon balance. So this one is the open cousin of the twisty one we just did. Whee! Oh. Nice big breath. All right, we're going to take both hands to the floor and step it back into dog. Take a moment to walk that dog around. Oh, and then do your vinyasa as you like. Or hold your dog, because that's better for you. Now, once you get back to dog, if you're doing that part, we're going to take that opposite leg up, bend the knee, hug in the knee, circle it back out. Hug it in, circle it back out. Hug it in, circle it out. Oh. And then step it forward. And we'll bring it into our warrior two. And again, once I'm up, I might decide to adjust my foot placement. Oh, make sure I'm even and balanced. And then going back and forth. Oh. Giving ourselves a little kind of ball shape. One more. And then we're going to come into that triangle that feels right to you. Maybe the arm is up, or again, maybe that's kind of feeling good to you today too. Do a little half bind. Nice deep breaths. One more. And we're going to turn this into our half moon balance. Woo. Take a nice leap of faith. See if you can balance. If you're going to fall on a piece of furniture, you should try to fall onto your feet instead. Whee. One more. Oh, and then we'll step it back into down dog. Oh. Now, we're going to come forward into a plank. Again, you can modify your plank. So for beginners, a modified plank is probably going to be a good idea. And then we're going to lower down to the ground all the way. So from here, we're going to start with some roly cobras. So I take my hands back so they line up more with my chest muscles. Oh, okay. And then when you come up, we're going to roll the shoulders back and forth. Roll the shoulders back and forth. Just one, and then the other, one, and then the other. Oh. All right, so then we're gonna come down, take a moment, and we'll do it one more time. So this time, as I lift into my cobra, I'm gonna bring my hands up a little farther so I can roll the shoulders. Roll the shoulders. Oh. Okay. Coming back to the center, I'm going to take myself back into down dog. All right, so that is one sequence. We're going to do each of those standing poses with a little bit more added on. So we're going to take the right leg, or whatever leg you're starting with. Take that leg up first. Bring that leg in, hug in. Take it back. Bring it in, hug and round. Take it back, and then bring it in and step it forward. And again, we're going to start with the high lunge. So we're going to jiggle into place. Whoop. If you fall, just get yourself up and reorganize. So I'm balanced on my toes in the back. Hips are orienting forward, heart is orienting forward. And I'm going to try to see if I can just hold that balance with my arms lifted. If you want to add on a little bit bigger challenge, you can try to bend that back knee and bring it a little closer to the ground. Not all the way down, but a little closer. And so you can just hold it or try that little extra bend. If you feel pain in your knee, that's your body's way of saying no. So now I'm going to take this and try to step myself right up into a balancing pose. I'm going to go for a tree. So I'm going to see if I can, I'm just going to try to do it in one step. If it doesn't work out, there might be a few steps involved. So bring yourself into a tree, or maybe you picked a different balancing pose. Ooh. Whee! One more. And then we're going to try to step back into our high lunge. And fold forward. Put the hands down. Step back into down dog. All right, so from down dog, adding your vinyasa sequence, or just pausing for the dog. And then you're coming back. Inhale, that opposite leg up, hug it in. Bring it back, hug it in. Bring it back. Give it a stretch. And then step it forward. And again, we're going to try to come up for that high lunge, seeing if we can come up without losing the balance. If you're not quite right when you get there, fix it. And then maybe that's all that happens. Or maybe you bend that back knee a little and create a little bit more of a workout for your quads. One more big breath there. And then we're going to see if we can step it right in. Nope. Today it's going to be a multi-step balance, but so be it. So, I usually feel accomplished when I pull off doing that in one step, but today, not so good. But I'm still here balancing, and that's what matters. Take a big breath. One more. And then we'll step it back. To the high lunge, and then to down dog. And take yourself through the vinyasa. Or if you need, you can follow me and just do that down dog shape. All right, let's do the other side. So that first leg's going up. We're going to bring it across towards the elbow. Go back, across towards the elbow. Go back, maybe you can even touch that elbow. And then we're going to step it forward. And once we get it up here, we're going to come to our warrior one. So again, orienting the heart forward, allowing the hips to move with the feet. You might need to change how you land. Bring your arms up, bring them back, push them forward, up, back, forward. Now we're going to bring the arms around behind, and you can either lace your fingers together or grab one wrist, okay? Then we're going to fold, and keeping the knee bent this time, folding to the diagonal, letting yourself come into humble warrior, bowing warrior. And then pausing here for deep breaths. Some people can lift their arms all the way up over their head. So if that's in your wheelhouse, go for it. For me, it's lovely just to let the neck rinse out. 2 more breaths. And rinse out your arms. And we're going to take this towards a wide angle forward bend, except we're going to keep the knees a little on the bent side, and we're just going to sway back and forth from one side to the other. Just adjusted my feet so that as my knee bends, I'm not causing any strain, and I might have to make a couple of adjustments as I go along. So just kind of leaning back and leaning forward into it and leaning back. One more time. And then as we come forward, we're going to step this back into down dog. And then from here, add your vinyasa or hold your dog. Oh. We're going to do that other side. So opposite leg comes up, bring it across towards the opposite elbow, take it back, across towards the opposite elbow, reach it back. We're going to step that leg forward, and this is going to become my warrior 1. Ooh. Okay, so you find your position. Work. Maybe the balance challenge. Arms come up, elbows go back, push it forward. 1 more. Up, back, forward. Then you're going to wrap your arms. Now if you laced your fingers together last time, move it 1 finger. If you're coming to a wrist grab, grab the opposite wrist. And then we're going to fold into this diagonal across the center of this pose here. Let the head hang, shoulders are back. Maybe the arms come up over your head. One more big breath there. That feels so good. Rinse out your arms. And again, we might need to adjust this back leg because we're going to kind of move towards the center. So we're coming in and then coming back and coming in and coming back and coming in and coming back. Oh, I want to do 1 more. Sometimes they feel so good. All right, now we're going to swing this whole thing around and turn it into a wide angle. So letting the head hang, letting yourself drape over into that shape. Now we're going to turn this into a squat, but not quite yet. We're going to take about 2 more breaths. Now, I'm going to turn it into a squat, and then from there I'm just going to sit down. And for you, if you want to throw in 1 more vinyasa, you could throw that in first, go back to dog, plank, blah, blah, blah. And then, when you're done with that, you can jump through your arms or step through and come right into a seated position from there. So coming into the squat. And then I'm going to set myself down. Some people can just sit straight down because they're close enough to the ground. So if that's you, do it. Now from here, we're going to do a pigeon sort of pose. I'm going to give you a couple options. So the regular pigeon pose, I've got 1 leg up, the other leg back, and then I might fold and hold steady here, or I might stay upright, or you might even reach back for a foot, okay? The opposite or more gentle possibility of this is to actually lie down and bring 1 leg up on top of the other. You can either hold both ankles or hold just the 1 leg. And this gets you in the same shape as the pigeon. It's just a little softer for knees and even low backs. So if that seems like it would be a better idea for you, do that. So I'm going to go with this guy because it's feeling okay. I am going to take a blanket and put it underneath my hip so that I can keep myself oriented a little more toward the front. And I'm also going to use a couple blocks because I'm into this back bendy shape right now. And as I hold it, we're going to hold here for about 45 seconds, 6 or 7 deep breaths. Maybe less if your breaths are really, really deep. So we did all this work with the standing poses to warm up all these places. So now we're going to give the deeper tissue in the hip and the glutes and the legs a little bit more of that sort of deeper stretchy shape. Now, if there's any pain in your body or it feels like you're tightening up, then it's too deep. Take one more breath and then let go with an ah. Now, if you're on your back, you have the choice of either doing a reclining twist or bringing that back leg around and joining us in a seated position. Now, it's possible that you'll be able to get this leg all the way on the outside. When I do that, my pelvis tilts, and I want my pelvis nice and steady. So you're going to lean back a little bit, lengthen, twist, and then as you grab hold of your leg or put your elbow on the outside, bring yourself back up nice and tall. This shoulder in the back, you can kind of find a home for. You can look over your back shoulder. You can tilt the head back to stretch this little area where the lymph drains from the face. And it's just a stretch in the skin is all you're going to feel. It's not going to feel like a deep muscle stretch. That's okay. The lymph is really in the surface, just underneath that superficial fascia that lives under the skin. Take 2 more breaths. Good, so we're going to come around, and then you're going to unwind your leg. And we'll take a moment. Now, you can choose a couple of different shapes. I'm going to turn so that you can see me more head on, and you would just stay on your mat wherever you were. So I had this leg up on top. This was my bent pigeon knee. I can keep that knee bent and have this leg just kind of swing out to the side for this side bend. Or you can do the gate pose, which is kind of my favorite pose this week. So turn the leg around behind you. See how far back that thigh wants to go. You can keep this distance between your heel and your hip tight or loose. It'll work either way. And then we're going to turn the ribs so that you're facing toward the center, and then side bend out over. And again, you can do the arm kind of reaching out because that side needs a stretch, or you can come back to that half bind shape. Since I did that earlier, I'm going to go for this one on this shape. And sort of what I'm doing is rooting into the ground through this thigh so that I have a little bit of a strong space to stretch out of, right? So I got a little bit of strength and a little bit of yum, which is what we're looking for in every yoga pose. Take one more big breath. And then we're going to come out of that shape, bring the legs around, give yourself a jiggle. If you were like, oh, Candy, I have to have one more vinyasa, then you could roll over, step back into plank, lower down, do an up dog or a cobra, come on back to dog, and then come into your pigeon on the other side. I mean, that's legal. So we're going to do the pigeon on the other side. I'm going to bend this knee because that's my other leg. I'm going to swing this guy behind me, and then I'm going to adjust myself with a little bit of a blanket, a little prop. And then I'm going to find a place that feels like I've got a nice length going in my back. So you're looking for the little nuances, little things about this pose that feel right to you. Maybe for you it's a song about your glutes. Maybe it's all about your back bend, which is kind of how I'm turning this pose into me today, into my thing. You might want to grab your back foot. All those good options exist, yogis. Nice deep breaths. We'll stay for about 45 more seconds. One more. Letting go with a big and then you're gonna lean yourself and bring that back leg around, or if you were on your back, then you can choose your twisting shape. Whether you come to the seated position and join me here, or you twist on your back. Okay, so sit up tall, lean back, turn, and then bring yourself back up. That's usually the easiest way, especially if you want to get your elbow on the outside of your knee. If you're feeling accomplished by doing that, you can definitely do that. Nice deep breaths. Finding the little nuggets of release in your pose. Take one more big inhale. And exhale out. And unwind your twist. And again, you can undo the legs. Give them a little shimmy. We're going to do that Janu Sirsasana or gate pose, side bend. So head to knee or gate. Head to knee is this shape, or this shape is the gate. So theoretically you look like a gate latch, like a little thing that keeps your gate closed. I don't know if that's true. So taking your side stretch in whichever version of the leg stretch feels best to you. It feels nice, yogis. Hopefully it feels just as good on your mat. Nice deep breaths. Two more. Last breath. Let go with an and then we'll inhale our way up. Unwind that leg. Give yourself a little rinse. Okay. Yogis, we're going to come kind of circling back to where we started, which is to come back to that wide V. This time, though, we're going to fold straight down the middle. So, especially if your pelvis tends to lean back, it's very helpful to elevate the pelvis by sitting up on a blanket, or you can bend your knees and stick a little throw a pillow under each knee to give yourself a little bit of a bend in your knee. That is a great way to take a little bit of the pressure away from the hip. The situation where your pelvis leans back is not actually tightness, it's a shape in your bones. And so by reorienting the bone of the femur, sometimes you can get that forward bend to actually happen. So a little softness at the beginning, feeling your way in. Some people can literally lie themselves down on the floor right in front of them, just put their belly, chest, and forehead right on the ground. I am not that girl, but I can get tilted in here far enough that if I wanted to, I could rest my elbows on the floor. Sometimes that feels too spicy. So I just go for hands, or I might add a block so that the floor is a little taller. And then for me, it feels nice, especially at the end of a practice, to sort of lean side to side into each sit bone. It's kind of like the standing wide angle forward bend with a little movement that we did earlier, sort of a half squat, forward bend, humble warrior, hybrid shape. So it feels a little bit like that. And then pausing in the center to see where that landed me. We're going to take 2 more breaths. Always when you make a choice to move around in your yoga pose, do it really mindfully. And then give yourself a moment where you check in and see, like, what happened from that movement. Was that, because what we're kind of doing is actually strengthening our intuition, right? So we have these inclinations about how we should move the body, and it's just building confidence in the relationship that we have with our body. Some people have a lot of body awareness. They've had a good relationship with their body for, their whole lives. They don't even know what I'm talking about. But if you have fought with your body, if you felt really negatively towards your body, this is a way to get in touch with your body that's pure sensation. You can drop a lot of the societal notions about what your body is supposed to be like, and really just feel what it's like to have a body. I think we're pretty lucky to be living in a situation, right? To be living in a human body right now. Otherwise, we might be a crystal on Venus, which seems like a great idea, except would be really slow. This life is pretty exciting, especially as of late. All right, now it wouldn't be a yoga practice without a little boat pose, you guys. So we're gonna do a little boat pose, and then we're gonna do some shavasana. So first, I'm gonna get myself oriented so that I'm sort of ready to do shavasana. So if my boat sinks, I can go straight into that. So, organizing my space. To get into the boat, I'm gonna really deeply engage, and I'm gonna lift myself up using every core muscle that I've got. It's almost like I'm gonna put on a pair of tight leather pants that have to zip all the way up to my breastbone. So we're gonna hug it all in so we can get those tight pants on. So you're gonna hug everything in, and then I'm just gonna lean back enough to pick my legs up, and then you can add dance moves. You can just hold this. My favorite version of the boat is where you hold onto your big toes and take the legs out straight. It's fun, but this can get roly-poly. So hold yourself up, really lengthen. It's like you're trying to bring your breastbone up just a wee bit, and then the hip flexors are helping to hold our knees or thighs up towards us. So we're using all of that deep stuff in the center, and shaking is part of the shape. So put your legs down when you're ready. We're gonna roll down. I'm gonna try to roll down nice and slow. Before I roll down, I'm gonna put this under my legs because I know I'm gonna want a little blanket under my legs. Okay, so I'm gonna stretch my legs out because that helps me. And then I'm gonna roll down super slow, super slow, super slow, hugging the abs in as I go. Oh, I'm trying to get one vertebrae at a time down onto the ground. Okay, so now I'm gonna do these little windshield wiper moves. And it might be really nice to bring the knees in and give yourself a little hug and a rock and even a happy baby pose, which is not the most attractive yoga pose on the planet Earth, but sometimes feels really lovely. Especially what you're trying to do is get your sacrum to the ground, so while you're holding your legs, you're trying to get that neutral pelvis, and it does nice things for my low back. Okay, so hugging the blanket up close to the thighs. For me, that helps my low back relax. For you, it might need to be a little lower, like under the middle of the thigh or under the knee. Snuggle your shoulder blades under you. Stretch out your arms so that you got plenty of room. And unlike earlier, I'm not being assaulted by tiny creatures, so this is much nicer. I may have spoken too soon. So yogis, take a minute, just let yourself close your eyes. If you need to put a little towel or an eye pillow over your eyes, do that so that they'll stay softly closed. And then just for a moment, you're going to feel all of the places on the bottom of your body, on your back side of your body, all the places where your body is touching the floor. So start at your head and feel how the back of your head gently rests. And feel the shoulders and the backs of the arms and the backs of the hands. And then notice the places where your back touches the ground, like that upper part of your back. And then notice the places that gently lift away from the floor, like the back of the neck and the lower back. Feel the weight of the back of your pelvis and your glutes on the floor. Feel the back of the thigh on the floor. Notice how the back of the knee might gently lift away from the floor. And then the calf muscles come in to support you. And feel the heels resting on the floor. And so now feeling every part of the body that is touching the floor simultaneously and evenly. Feel the floor gently rise up to meet you so that you can let go completely. Whole body relaxed. Whole body soft. Letting yourself feel this gentle moment where you just are here, nowhere to go, nowhere to be, but right here. Now, yogis, you can stay longer if you like, but if you're ready, you can start by just taking a deep breath and then letting it go with a sigh. We're going to do that 3 times. Big breath, big sigh. Last one. And then just wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch them apart from one another and then wiggle them. Stretch them and wiggle them. And then you're going to move your wrists. Little circular flamenco kind of moves, both directions. Move your ankles. Might be little circles. Might be just a little back and forth. Then we're going to stretch the arms and legs out. And we're going to do a little banana shape going one way. And a little banana shape going the other way. And then we're going to bring the knees in and give ourselves a hug and a little back massage. Oh, because it feels so nice. Now, I prefer to lay on my side for a second when I come out of Shavasana because it feels nice to have a transition zone. If you want to rock yourself up, that's fine too. I'm not going to judge. So finding that kind of place where you're coming back to the moment you're in. When I take a yoga class, I'm often the last one to sit up, but I'll go ahead and sit myself up right now. And then we're going to do an Om. Now, you can make any sound you want at your house. I'm not going to hear you, but or I might, actually, depending on your mic situation. So, to do the Om, we're just going to make that sound. Oh, and then you're going to close your lips and make it an sound. So, we're going to let the whole body resonate with the sound. Take a nice big inhale. Let's do it one more time because you might have been shy on that one. Nice big breath. Thanks for joining me for Saturday morning vinyasa yoga. Little yin, little core. Namaste, yogis.